Vorbereitung.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Leaders Being Heard, dedicated to business analysis with Christina. Hi, Christina.
Hello.
Who is an experienced business analyst, and myself, who I'm a leadership coach. And our host, Marius, it's not with us today, so I'm going to take over that role. Today, we want to talk about analysis paralysis. So, Christina, what is analysis paralysis?
Yeah, it happens a lot. It's when we have so many choices that we got stuck and we cannot move on. And why is that so special in analysis? It's just because business analysts do analysis, right? This is their job, and they end up very often in we as BAs end up very often in trying to find data, to find information. We look in so many directions that sometimes we get lost into searching without ever stopping. And why is this important is because we need to have it, to make it a stop and to check, did I do my job, or when do I stop? How do I know that I can finish my task, or my task is finished, without taking it forever to accomplish a task? And one example that I have clear in my mind is, in a diagram, how much detail do I need to add?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I am tempted to add everything I know, and then I need to make a one-pager, and then I end up like, it doesn't fit. It's something too crowded there. And this is something that usually happens. And I think it needs special attention to know how to deal with analysis paralysis. That is one example. Of course, this can happen in taking decisions. Okay, the BA, we as human take decisions, but the BA needs to take decisions whether to go or to analyze one direction or go in another direction. Should I focus on detailing a certain vertical of my domain or of the problem, or should I focus on the overall? It happens a lot, and I think it's important to discuss about this now, today.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Before, I want to take one example and we can dive into that. Before, I just want to mention what's behind that, in theory, what's behind the analysis paralysis. And it's actually the fear of making the wrong decision. So you postpone making a choice because what if it's the wrong one? Yeah. And behind that fear is, if in the future we will see it was the wrong decision, it probably means something about me, that I've done something. I did not look at all the parameters. Yeah. So that is what's behind that. Do we have all the factors? Do we have everything? It's always a good reason not to make the decision.
There is something that came up what you're saying. Yes, what if somebody comes and read my diagram and they see that there is something that I didn't catch there, you know? And it's this fear. Have I kept everything there or not? And then you can't stop. You just add and add and add, because what if somebody would say something like, you're missing this, or this is wrong, or I don't know.
Yeah. And actually, you cannot know everything that everybody will come up, because we are different, and they will definitely come up with an idea that you did not thought of, an if that you did not thought of. Okay, so let's take which one example do you want to take to work on?
I think we can take this one. I have another one in mind. Throughout my career, I've seen this example with, should I make a service configurable or not? I think everybody. So do we make it quick and dirty, Or do we make it as per patterns, as by the best practices, by the book, we can configure it, we can come and we can use it without any additional work in the future. And I think this is very difficult to take as a team, not only as a business analyst, and even as a product owner, I would say, because there are so many pushing forces, like forces pushing the decision in one way or the other, that sometimes we end up in maybe not fights, but in arguments, in strong arguments. Yeah, let's. I would work on this one with the diagrams. It's. I think it happens a lot. And
so it's. I do a diagram, yes, and then it's also related with analysis paralysis. It's vague, yes. I want to do a diagram, and now it's actually to make it yes, smaller and to see, okay, what do I need for this diagram? Yes, what is the technical part here when you do a diagram? What do you need to take into consideration?
Yeah, super. Your point. We don't do a diagram just because we want to do a diagram. We do a diagram for a reason. And we should always do a diagram only if we know what that diagram is helpful, what value it brings. And if we have this clear, then the next step for me as a BA is important to know to whom is this diagram for. Okay, is it for developers? Because then these guys need a lot of detail and they need everything to be structured. Is this for business person? Or these guys need to understand the idea, they need to understand the added value, they need to understand the story. Maybe they don't need so many details. Maybe it's for my peers because I want to share something to head and tail, to show something for them to understand. And here's, I think, is the most struggle when you talk to peers. Because at least for me, because I know they will ask the most twisted questions, and then to decide if I want to share this for them, then this is what and I set a boundary. Let's say it like that, because I need to stop at some point. I shouldn't go in detail and never stop. I need to stop to make it iterative in that direction. And yeah.
So what I see in what you say, and then you can continue, it's actually, it's to have a moment of reflection, a structure before you start working on a diagram. And because sometimes we are so excited and we just go for it, I have so many ideas, but it's to stop and actually look, okay, I need to take into consideration the following factors. And you, as you said, for who is this? So this can be a structure. Each time you do a diagram or each time you start working on something, you look, who is this for? What is the result that I want? What's the intention? Who's the viewer, as you said, yeah? All this, so it can become a structure actually. Before I do something, I look into this and I broaden. And it's I make it smaller. And then I can start working, yeah? And also to take into consideration, I think, is the deadline. Yeah, it's by when do I need it finished and how much I go into detail. What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, having a deadline usually helps. The tendency might be that I need more time. I haven't finished. I haven't added everything, but that's not having it finished may not be the end purpose. Maybe just being in the conversation with the stakeholders is more important than having the thing perfect.
Yeah, perfection. It comes again, sometimes it's important to make the decision and say, okay, it's done and I will deal with it afterwards.
Exactly.
Then to keep going back and saying, I need more time, there are more details that I did not look into, I need more time and I need more time. Yeah, so there is a flexibility and a balance between I want to do my job perfect and I need also to do it in time. I think that is always a conflict.
Yes, and I think the conversation with the stakeholders, provided that I bring one view, yeah, this is what I managed to do until today. The conversation may be richer just because we have a starter, right? This is what I've done so far. We can discuss, we can improve. We can stop here because it's no longer relevant, you know, maybe that's enough. I don't know if it's enough unless I talk to the others, or it may be, as you said, I said it's my decision to make it. It's enough. I will not go further because what I will do further will be in another step. So I will dedicate further analysis, further detail in another step. So if I make it stepwise, I give myself time to breathe. I open the space for conversation with my stakeholders. Now, of course, if it's a one-time presentation, you don't have a second choice. You don't have a second time to present. Of course, that's different. But even in that situation, I need to stop somewhere. Yeah, I need to see what is relevant and just go with that.
It's actually the other example that you mentioned. Am I making the service configurable now or I make it later? This one is you cannot go back. So you just need to make a choice. And then it's as you said, look at, make it, okay, what do I need now? Do we need it now? Or do we need it later? I think that is, with the diagram, let's say you can add into it, but with the service, it's like.
Yeah. So in here, in my career, I don't know, I've been through this process so many times. And you know what's interesting? There is no recipe. I mean, I cannot say that if I did it once in one way, I will do it the same every time. No, the conversation starts from the beginning every time. That's interesting and nice. But the questions that appear are like, okay, if I want to make it quick and dirty, safe enough to be, to give us the comfort that it's enough. But still the question is, do I have like market pressure? Do I have a time pressure? How important is that time deadline that we received? Yeah, maybe if I'm the product owner and I need to make the decision, do I make it quick and dirty or should I make it configurable? Of course, I come with pros and cons. Yeah, but how important is, what is the revenue that I get if I make it quick and dirty? How much it will cost me later if I need to come back and rework over something that is already in place and it's of course, more difficult to beautify it, to make it right if you start quick and dirty. Of course, we all know this. And this actually can end up in and usually ends up in vivid discussions. I would call.
It's interesting because if you look at are we making a service configurable, it has the same pros and cons each time. So what the difference is, what do we need in this project? What do we need in this project? So are the factors that you said that are somehow mapped with the pros and cons, depending on the money, time, what the client needs. So that is why it leads to vivid conversations. I guess if you ask a software engineer, which I am, they will always say, let's make it configurable. Or if you ask from the BA, let's make it. It's beautiful. It's what we need. And then there are.
Yeah, then the product owner or the project manager might come, depending on the setup, might come and say, but I need it in 2 weeks. oh, but it's not doable, configurable in 2 weeks. Yes, we know, but and yeah, it's a debate.
This is another topic. Actually, it's a group decision. Sometimes it's like it's a group debate, and who makes the decision?
Yeah, I think it's a group debate, and then somebody needs to take a decision. And usually it's the PO, so the product owner, who takes the decision, or whoever plays this role, that person. Okay. And once taken that decision, should stick to it until, I don't know, this is interesting. What do you do when after you took a decision that you know that you had to give up on something when you took a decision? Because okay, we start quick and dirty, and we said with that we are okay, and then in 2 months there is something coming up and proves that it might have been a good decision too.
Yeah, I just remember I was reading a book, and it was saying that it's for us to become better at making a choice, because when we choose one thing, we say no to many other things, and it's to get better at saying no to so many things and accept that. Yes. And it's in the moment you make a choice, is you reason your way into it. You have reasons why you make that choice. But once you've done it in this special situation, there is no going back. Yeah. And then if the reasons do not fit, is like you commit to it. This is what we are doing. All the other many hundred ways that you could have done it, they disappear. This is what we chose, or this is what I chose. We go for it, and we deal with whatever comes in the way, because something comes in the way. And if you go back to the reasons, yeah, look, maybe it would have been, it's not helpful. This is the situation now. You cannot know what other problems would have appeared for the others. So this is, it's once you commit to it, and if people or you go back to, yeah, but what about the other option? It's off the table, the other option. This is what we chose. We are not going back to it. We deal with whatever comes up. This is what we have. This is powerful because your focus becomes in, let's make it work, let's make it work. It's not how could we have chosen differently. It's not the time now.
This is super powerful what you said. Yeah, accepting the decision and not looking back and feeling sorry that we took that decision when we could have taken the other one. I think this is super important, and how to learn to take what we have now. Okay, I took that decision 2 months ago. That's fine. It was still me, or it was still us. And now today we have this input, we have the current situation today, and we just take it like from scratch, from zero. We have this situation now. What do we do next? Instead of complaining or
that is being responsible. We avoid being responsible, because that it's might be heavy. Oh, I made this decision, or we made this decision, and look, it doesn't work. So it's really heavy. We make it mean about us as a group. We make it mean about, it means something. So that is, so it's heavy to make it.
Yeah, and coming back to analysis paralysis, I think the negative effect of this is prolonging or not taking a decision, postponing the decision so much time. And I think we lose time to be effective, to work until we come up and decide to do one thing, and then to invest our energy. And after that, after 2 months, to see that we did it okay, or we wouldn't have needed. I mean, we could have survived 1 or 2 more years with that, So I also want to highlight this time that we take until we reach a decision. How much time do we allocate, and do we set a time to take a decision?
Yeah, I was thinking the same. it's like in the beginning, as I said, have a time of reflection. Even if in day-to-day life you make a decision, put a deadline. Let's make a decision by that time. And then you can change, but to have a frame, if you don't put it, you can go into details as long as you want. So reflect a bit at what is needed for that decision by when you are going to take that decision.
Yeah, yeah.
Even if the decision is, we don't look into it now, we look into it 3 months and see. That is still a decision. But if we keep going, are we changing to Kanban, for example, or not? Are we changing? And then you can say, okay, today we say, let's look at it in 3 months. And now we continue. I think it takes energy and time from people when you don't make a choice. And I'm not saying that sometimes you need more information, that those are exceptions.
Yeah, that's true. So there is one thing to just discuss and keep discussing without stopping on a topic. And there is something else like, okay, I need 3 days. I will search for some facts that I need to take a decision. I come back and in 3 days we take a decision.
And now I see it. It's actually the intention behind. Why do you need more time? Is because you're afraid or because actually you need more information? So that is the source to find out. Am I doing this because I'm afraid? Or am I doing this because I don't know something and I cannot decide? So it's a subtle difference.
Yes, yeah. And also connected to the why. Also connected to the impact also. If I take the decision, it will have this impact. But what's interesting is, do we really know the impact? Because the circumstances in the future will change. So whatever we consider now, like being the impact, like we don't know the war is going to come. And we don't know that everything, I will sell that product. I don't know, very good. And then the war came and then I couldn't sell because people don't buy anymore. You know, so this is, I mean, the pressure on putting the pressure put on take the decision is high. And I think it's important for us to be aware that we go through this process and to structure it somehow to make it work. To let us pass the analysis paralysis, to not get stuck and to move on.
We want to control the future and to make sure we covered all the possible things that may come up. Because if something comes up and we did not know about it, it's like it's my fault that I did not know that. But actually, the future does what the future does. Life does, and we cannot control that. So that is the balance between this is what I have, this is what I know now at this time with this information. This is what I can predict for the future. But a month later, there are other factors. So, and you cannot go back and make the decision again. Yeah, this is how I see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything you want to add?
I think we've gone through pretty much what we intended today. I'm happy that we discussed these details in diagram thingy that I find it so often in my discussions. And also this, how do I make that surface? How perfect do I make my work? Actually, either it's configurable or not, or should I add all the attributes even if they are not needed, or should I go with the minimum ones? Or and this kind of discussions that you don't know in the future actually how it's going to be. You think you prepare, but maybe you don't need them. You never need them, so you invested time for in vain. So being aware of this, what we gain and what we give up and live with it, it's important. I think it just makes our lives easier as a person and as a group.
To accept instead of keep doubting.
Yeah.
Takes energy to keep doubting.
And keep coming back. I make the wrong decision. Okay, but that time it was
own it,
is the decision. Good or bad, it was the decision. Okay, we are in this situation now. Okay, let's take it as we start from zero. Yeah.
Yeah. You summarized everything that we covered. It's great. So thank you, Christina. Thank you, everybody. Let us know what you think in the comments. And we have the live every Thursday, not next week. So yeah, let us know what other topics you might be interested in. We are happy to discuss them.
Yeah.
So
And
thank you. Yeah.
Bye. It's fine. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. You wanted to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to say, how do you deal with analysis paralysis? I mean, I would gladly hear impression, ideas. Do you end up in this, or this is some people don't have this? You know,
Yeah,
I would
and
be curious.
for them, it's also sometimes you don't see it. You don't see that you do this and you go too much into details when you could stop. So as a BA, ask yourself, is it sometimes coming from fear, or is it actually needed to have that much detail? Yeah, a good question. So let us know in the comments. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you, Andra. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.